Sebastian Sterling stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse office, watching the city spread below like a glittering carpet of ambition and dreams. At 29, he commanded a hotel empire worth billions, yet felt as empty as the crystal glass in his hand. The Sterling Grand Hotel chain had made him one of the youngest billionaires in the country. But success felt hollow when shared with no one who truly understood him. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across his mahogany desk, where wedding invitations lay scattered like fallen leaves. His engagement to Camille Ashford had been announced in every major newspaper, a union his mother Victoria called perfect for business and bloodline. Camille was beautiful, educated, and came from old money that complemented the Sterling fortune. She was also as cold as winter morning and about as passionate as a business meeting. 20 floors below, Jasmine Rivera moved silently through the hotel corridors, her cleaning cart squeaking softly on marble floors that cost more than most people earned in years. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, her uniform pressed despite being worn thin from countless washings. At 24, she carried herself with quiet dignity that no amount of hardship could diminish. Jasmine had worked at Sterling Grand for 2 years. Invisible to the wealthy guests who swept through the lobby in designer clothes and expensive perfume, she cleaned their rooms, changed their sheets, and polished surfaces they barely noticed, all while carrying a secret that grew heavier with each passing day. The pregnancy test had shown positive 3 months ago, and the father was nowhere to be found. David, the charming waiter from another hotel, had disappeared the moment she mentioned missing her period. Now she worked extra shifts, saving every penny for the baby while supporting her mother Rosa, who battled cancer in a public hospital across town. As Jasmine cleaned the executive floor, she paused outside Sebastian's office, hearing voices through the heavy oak door. Victoria Sterling's sharp tone cut through the air like broken glass. The wedding must be perfect, Sebastian. The Ashfords are expecting nothing less than perfection. This marriage will secure our position in society and expand our business into European markets. Mother, shouldn't marriage be about more than business deals? Sebastian's voice carried frustration that surprised Jasmine. She had seen him from afar, always impeccably dressed and seemingly confident, but now he sounded tired and uncertain. Love is a luxury we cannot afford, Victoria replied coldly. Your father married for duty, and look what we built together. Camille is suitable in every way. She understands her role and won't burden you with emotional complications. Jasmine continued cleaning. But the conversation stayed with her. Here was a man who had everything money could buy, yet seemed as trapped as she was. Just in a different kind of prison that evening, as Jasmine finished her shift, she discovered she had forgotten her phone in one of the rooms. The hotel was nearly empty, most staff gone for the day. She took the service elevator up, her tired feet aching in shoes that had seen better days. The hallway was dimly lit, emergency lighting casting long shadows. As she retrieved her phone from the supply closet, she heard footsteps. Panic filled her chest. Staff were not supposed to be on guest floors after hours without permission. Hello? Sebastian's voice called out. Is someone there? Jasmine froze, clutching her phone. Getting caught could cost her the job, and without this income, her mother's medical bills would go unpaid. Her brother Antonio would have to leave medical school, and her unborn child would have no future. Sebastian appeared around the corner, still wearing his expensive suit but looking more human somehow in the soft lighting. His dark hair was slightly mussed, his tie loosened. When he saw Jasmine, his expression shifted from authority to curiosity. You're Jasmine, aren't you? From housekeeping? She was shocked he knew her name. In 2 years, no executive had ever acknowledged her existence beyond signing her paychecks. Yes, sir, Mr. Sterling. I apologize for being here so late. I forgot my phone, and you don't need to apologize, Sebastian said gently. I was just walking around clearing my head. Sometimes this place feels more like home than my actual home. Something in his voice made Jasmine look up, really look at him. She saw loneliness in his eyes that mirrored her own, a weariness that expensive suits could not hide. You work very hard, he continued. I've noticed You're always the first to arrive and last to leave. I need this job, sir. My family depends on it. Sebastian studied her face in the soft light, seeing something that made his chest tighten unexpectedly. Here was someone real in his world of artificial relationships and calculated moves. Your mother is ill, isn't she? He asked quietly. James mentioned it when he reviewed the employee assistance requests. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. She quickly tried to hide. Cancer. The treatments are expensive, and insurance doesn't cover everything. But we're managing. And your brother's in college? Medical school. He wants to become a doctor like our father was before he passed. Pride filled her voice despite her circumstances. Sebastian felt something shift inside him. A recognition of genuine goodness in someone who had every reason to be bitter about life's unfairness. Here was a woman facing impossible challenges with grace and determination, while he complained about having too much money and not enough meaning. Would you like some coffee? He asked impulsively. There's a machine in the executive break room. You look tired, Jasmine hesitated. Socializing with the owner could create problems, but something in his manner seemed genuinely kind rather than inappropriate. I shouldn't. Just coffee between two people who both seemed to be carrying heavy burdens. Sebastian said with a smile that transformed his entire face as they sat in the small break room. Sharing coffee and conversation, both felt something neither had expected to find. Sebastian discovered someone who saw him as simply human rather than a wealthy prize to be won. Jasmine found kindness and understanding from someone who had no obligation to care about her struggles. The connection was immediate and dangerous, crossing lines that society had drawn with iron rules. But in that quiet moment, with the city lights twinkling beyond the windows, two lonely hearts recognized something beautiful and impossible beginning to bloom. 3 weeks had passed since that night in the break room, and Sebastian found himself looking forward to the quiet moments when he might glimpse Jasmine in the hotel corridors. Their conversations had become precious stolen moments, always careful, always brief, but filled with an understanding that grew deeper each day. Jasmine's pregnancy was beginning to show. Though she hid it well beneath loose uniforms, she had confided in Sebastian about the baby, and instead of judgment, she found compassion that brought tears to her eyes. He had quietly arranged for her mother, Rosa, to receive treatment at the city's best private hospital, claiming it was part of an employee wellness program. You can't keep doing this, Jasmine whispered as they met in the hotel garden one evening after her shift. People will notice. Your mother, your fiancé, they won't understand. Sebastian reached for her hand, his touch gentle on her work-worn fingers. Let me worry about that. Right now, all I care about is making sure you and the baby are safe. This is impossible, Sebastian. We're from different worlds. So were Romeo and Juliet, he said with a sad smile. Look how well that turned out. Despite everything, Jasmine laughed. You're terrible at encouraging speeches. Their friendship had blossomed into something neither could deny, though neither dared speak its name aloud. Sebastian found himself questioning everything about his arranged future, while Jasmine struggled with feelings she knew could destroy the security her family desperately needed. Victoria Sterling, however, was not blind to her son's distraction. She had noticed his frequent visits to the hotel, his questions about employee welfare, his sudden interest in hospital charity work. A woman didn't survive in high society without developing sharp instincts. For threats to her carefully laid plans, the wedding is in 2 weeks, Victoria announced during Sunday dinner, her voice cutting through the crystal and silver like a blade. The caterers need final numbers. The photographers want additional shots of you and Camille together. Sebastian pushed food around his plate, appetite gone. About the wedding, Mother? I've been thinking is dangerous at this stage, Victoria interrupted smoothly. Everything is arranged. The Ashfords have already transferred their European hotel properties to our partnership. Backing out now would be more than embarrassing. It would be financially devastating. Camille sat beside him, beautiful and cold as marble, discussing flower arrangements with the same emotion most people reserved for reading grocery lists. She had made it clear that their marriage would be a business arrangement, separate bedrooms, separate lives. united only for public appearances and the eventual production of heirs. That night, Sebastian couldn't sleep. He walked to the hotel, using his private elevator to reach the garden where he and Jasmine often met. She was there, as if she had sensed his need for her calming presence. "I can't marry her," he said without preamble. Jasmine's heart broke and soared simultaneously. "You have to. Think about your family's business, your mother's expectations, everything you'd lose. What about what I'd gain?" Sebastian moved closer, his hands cupping her face with infinite tenderness. "Jasmine, I love you. I love your strength, your kindness, the way you make me want to be better than I am. I love the child you're carrying, and I want to raise them as my own." Tears streamed down Jasmine's face. "I love you too," she whispered. "But love isn't enough to bridge the gap between us. Your mother will destroy my family if she thinks I'm a threat to your future. Then we'll build our own future away from here. I have money they can't touch, investments around the world. We can leave, start fresh somewhere they can't find us." For a moment, Jasmine allowed herself to imagine it, a small house somewhere warm. Sebastian coming home to her and their child, a life built on love instead of obligation. But reality crashed back like cold water. "My mother is too sick to travel. My brother has 1 year left in medical school. I can't abandon them, and you can't abandon your responsibilities." Sebastian pulled her close, breathing in the scent of her hair, memorizing every detail of this moment. They both knew she was right, but neither wanted to face the impossible choice before them. The morning of Sebastian's wedding dawned gray and rainy, as if the heavens themselves disapproved of the union about to take place. Sterling Cathedral, rented for the occasion, buzzed with 500 of society's most influential people. All dressed in designer clothes worth more than most people's homes. Jasmine had requested the day off, claiming illness, but Alina, her best friend and fellow maid, was working the reception. She had promised to call with updates, but Jasmine wasn't sure she wanted to hear them. Instead, Jasmine sat beside her mother's hospital bed, Rosa's thin hand warm in hers. The treatments Sebastian had arranged were working, giving them hope they hadn't dared feel in months, but Rosa remained weak. "You look sad, Mia," Rosa whispered. "Today should be a day of rest for you." Jasmine forced a smile. "I'm fine, Mama, just thinking about the future." Rosa studied her daughter's face with the wisdom of someone who had loved deeply and lost much. "There's a man." It wasn't a question. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears she had been holding back for weeks. "It doesn't matter. He's marrying someone else today." "Does he love you?" "Yes," Jasmine whispered, "and I love him. But we're from different worlds, and I won't let my feelings destroy his life or ours." Rosa squeezed her daughter's hand with surprising strength. "Listen to me carefully. Your father and I had nothing when we married. No money, no family approval, nothing but love. But that love built a family, raised children, created something beautiful. Don't let fear steal your chance at happiness." At the cathedral, Sebastian stood at the altar in his perfect tuxedo, feeling like he was about to attend his own funeral. Camille approached down the aisle, beautiful and untouchable, while hundreds of guests smiled and applauded a union that felt like a lie. As the ceremony began, Sebastian's phone buzzed. A text from Alina. "Emergency at hospital. Jasmine's mother collapsed. She's asking for you." Sebastian's heart stopped. Without thinking, without caring about protocol or consequences, he stepped away from the altar. "I'm sorry," he announced to the stunned congregation, his voice carrying clearly through the cathedral. "I cannot do this." Gasps echoed through the crowd. Victoria Sterling turned white as marble, while Camille stood frozen in her wedding dress. "More embarrassed than heartbroken, Sebastian." Victoria's voice cracked like a whip. "What are you doing?" "What I should have done months ago," Sebastian replied, already moving toward the exit. "I'm choosing love over duty, happiness over obligation. I'm choosing the woman who makes me want to be the man I was meant to be." He ran through the rain to his car, still wearing his tuxedo, not caring about the shocked faces or the scandal that would fill tomorrow's newspapers. All that mattered was reaching Jasmine and her mother, the people who had become his real family without him realizing it. At the hospital, Sebastian burst into Rosa's room. Water dripping from his formal clothes, his hair disheveled. Jasmine looked up in shock, her face tear-streaked and beautiful. "You left your wedding?" she whispered. "There was only one place I needed to be," Sebastian said, kneeling beside her chair and taking her hands. "With you?" "With our family," Rosa smiled weakly from her bed. "So you're the man who's been making my daughter glow like sunshine?" "I'm the man who loves her more than his own life," Sebastian said simply. "And I'm asking for your blessing to marry her, if she'll have me." Jasmine's tears flowed freely now. "What about your mother? Your business? Everything you'll lose?" "I'll lose nothing that matters," Sebastian said, pulling out the engagement ring he had removed during the ceremony. "I'll gain everything I've been searching for. Will you marry me, Jasmine Rivera? Will you let me love you and raise this child and build something real together?" Through her tears, Jasmine saw the truth in his eyes. Love had indeed conquered all the barriers they thought insurmountable. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I'll marry you." 6 months later, in a simple ceremony attended by Rosa, now in remission, Antonio in his medical school graduation gown, and a small circle of true friends, Sebastian and Jasmine exchanged vows. Their son David Sebastian Rivera Sterling slept peacefully in Rosa's arms, while Alina served as maid of honor and James as best man. Victoria Sterling eventually came to accept her son's choice, finding in Jasmine a daughter-in-law whose strength and kindness reminded her of the woman she had been before society hardened her heart. The hotel empire flourished under Sebastian's leadership. Now guided by genuine compassion rather than cold calculation, and in the evening light of their garden, Sebastian and Jasmine would often sit with their growing family, proof that love, when it's real and brave and willing to sacrifice for what matters most, can indeed conquer all.